Welcome back to the show, everybody. This is the epilogue of the premiere episode of What Do You Think? What do you think? What do you think about this? Now, if you caught the premiere pilot episode of What Do You Think About This? It was a doozy. It was a great one. It was a heavy one. Speaking of heavy, it's heavily due to our guest, Big G, aka a Big G of Net Stars or NetRex Reacts. Aren't these some wonderful names for channels, yo? Big G was the star and the first guest of our show last time. And if you're not familiar with the theme of the show or the general idea, it's where we take people that are potential dick suckers and we put them up to task and we ask them some hard-hitting, groundbreaking, heavy-hitting, fat guys like him especially, questions that really put them to task of giving their honest and true opinion of what they think about particular people, especially if they tend to have their penis in their mouths, right? So that's exactly what we did. And as you could see, Big G, we're going to put you to task and we're going to do a review of the answers that you gave on the premiere episode. Wait a minute. We don't even see Big G here. Where'd he go? That's right, ladies and gentlemen. Big G is ghost. He had no more. Yeah, it was all big in the comment sections and talking all this shit about your handsome host, the spaceman. But now, all of a sudden, there's not a peep, not a mention of Tone Space in any type of way, because mentioning me would have to then, in turn, translate to addressing what we put him to task for. And that was giving his opinions about a particular subject that we're going to review the answers of. And even though it's like, because remember, I think I broke it down, lovely. What is it like? Omission is submission. What's the term that I use? He basically gave his opinion by way of omission. What that means is him being silent. It really spoke volumes. It really told a lot. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you recall, there were 3 videos that we put Big Gay up to the task to react to. One of them was the Lamar Wills and Michael Stevens fight. The second one was the first confrontation in that same gas station after the Lamar Wills Michael Stevens fight, where Michael Stevens pulled up just a few feet away from him and had a conversation, if you will, kind of like a one-way conversation. The other guy was kind of, but decided to talk to him because the Lamar Wills guy had a whole lot of conversing to do off camera, or at least off that camera, on camera rather, like on the internet. Oh, talking all this shit. I won that fight, yada 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 yada. So then Michael Stevens pulled up to him and he had some choice words for him, right? We wanted Big G's reaction, and the third was the second post-fight pull-up by both Michael Stevens and his friend, who either is named Mike or Rob. I'm not quite sure. It doesn't really matter, folks. Only thing that matters is how did Big G react to that. He was all in the comments and had like a whole bunch to say about this. I put him to task. I wanted to get his opinion on what he thinks about people that constantly sing to other men in songs. He's been mum the word ever since. Mum's the word. He's been that ever since then. So, ladies and gentlemen, let's review the questions that we put Big G up to task to answer. All right. So, Big G, now we know he watched this video. We know he saw these questions, so we can't get out of it that way, right? So, Big G, what do you think about this? Remember, silence is complacency to the idea that LA behaved like a punk. So, video 1 was the Michael Stevens LA fight. We asked Big G, who either got the upper hand or outright won that encounter? Oh yeah, he's also, to my understanding, he's still been interacting with the LA guy and everything ever since then, right? So we asked him who either got the upper hand or outright won that encounter. Now, according to LA himself, he will tell you that he indeed won the encounter in the fight with Michael Stevens. Big G, zip, has nothing to say. So what does that tell us? That tells us he's afraid to speak up. So that means he believes that, in fact, Michael Stevens is the winner of that. So we got an answer to our first question. Big G, by way of omission, says Michael Stevens actually won that first encounter. Question number 2. Would you have performed to the level of LA in that encounter or better? As you may be aware, I think Big G fancies himself as an MMA guy. He has a little experience in the octagon, if I'm not mistaken. Zip, nothing. So Big G is saying, no, I would have not performed the way LA did. LA performed terribly. He got his ass whipped. Me, no, that would have not been me versus Michael Stevens. I would have bust that ass, right? Question number 3. What do you think about the encounter overall? Big G's answer by way of omission. I think LA got fucked up. All right, let's keep this moving. Video number 2, the first pull-up encounter post the fight, right? And we have a couple questions here for Big G, and we're going to give you his answers. We asked him, had a man been talking to you the way Michael did LA, would you both have been content reacting in the way LA did? And do you think LA reacted in the manner of a stand-up man? By way of omission, Big G says, no, he would. Big G, if Big G were in this position, he's saying no, he would not be content with the way that LA reacted, just standing there and letting the guy threaten his son and talk bad to him and talk about his deceased family and everything. Big G is saying no, that could not have been me under any circumstance. And do you think LA reacted in the manner of a stand-up man? Big G says no, not at all. Question number 2. After having his son threatened nearly face-to-face by Michael to LA, was LA's instant reaction to that one that you think a G should and would have, being that Big G fashions himself as a G, and Big G says no, LA gets an F for fail. He failed the G code. That's his answer by way of omission. Question number 3, do you think Michael punked LA out in that encounter? Because I told you there's going to be a couple yes or no questions. And Big G's answer is yes. LA got extremely punked out in that encounter. Video number 3, the second pull-up by way of Michael Stevens' man, who's also named Michael or Robert, and then Michael Stevens also confronting him again outside that gas station, right? We asked Big G, do you think the man that first encountered LA was pressing him? Big G says yes, absolutely, by way of omission. If so, if you do think he was pressing him, which Big G does, do you think LA was replying to him like a stand-up man? Big G says no, absolutely not. And then we ask, if not, were LA's reaction to him the type in which you'd be comfortable having given if you were in LA's situation? By way of omission, Big G says, no, I would not be comfortable behaving like a punk-ass bitch like the way that he did. Question number 2, when Michael reminded LA how LA has been claiming he whooped Michael, do you think LA was a G for replying, nah, bro? Big G says, no, he was not a G at all for replying, nah, bro, because all this time he's been claiming a victory. He even claims victory now that he's a few hundred miles away from the hometown area in which Michael Stevens is at. Even now, but when Michael Stevens was in front of his face 2 times claiming that he whipped his ass and taking issue with LA claiming that he actually indeed whooped Michael, LA had nothing to say to defend or stand up or back up his claim that he actually won. His reply was, nah, bro, because he's pussy. This is what Big G says. This is not the host's opinion. I'm unbiased here, right? Question number 3. Had you claimed to the public that you whooped Michael, how would you have replied if Michael told you he had issue with you claiming you whooped him? Ooh, a nice open-ended question. You had room to just give us your total opinion, and you still ducked out of this. I think you kind of pussy, too. By way of omission, we can't really put words in his mouth, but it's obvious that whatever his answer is or would be is something unfavorable. Question number 4, do you think LA approached that encounter like a stand-up man altogether? Big G's answer by way of omission is absolutely not. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. There's the epilogue. Kind of like the post-credit scene to our premiere pilot episode of What Do You Think About This? We put Big G up to task by way of omission. He's basically co-signing the idea, that LA is pussy. See y'all later. Maybe we'll get another episode in or get some other guests. Wouldn't that be nice? If you'd like to be a guest on the show or you have ideas or anything, please just leave your comments and tell us, what we can do, or I can do, it's just me here, what I can do to improve the show and make it even better for you guys. Catch y'all later. Spaceman.